This is Let's Talk Teens, a parenting podcast sharing tips on raising amazing teenagers. We are both certified life coaches that have worked with teenagers as coaches, mentors, and teachers. We are sharing what we have found to work best when dealing with teens and tough issues.
This is Let's Talk Teens with Abbi and Cheree, episode 95, Back to School with Your Teen, part 1.
Okay, I can't even believe we're talking about this, but let's talk back to school. We are right there. By the time this podcast comes out, you are going to be in the thick of either the first week of school or right before. So, Cheree and I are really excited to share some of our back to school tips for teenagers and how you can make this a really smooth transition, especially if they're going from like big steps like elementary, junior high, or junior high to high school, and just how we can best support our teen through this.
Back to school always happens so much faster than we think it is. Summer just goes by
Mhm.
so fast, but always so good to get back into a routine.
Oh, Cheree, I don't know about you. I'm ready for it. I'm like, please just get me to back to school. But we've had so much fun. That's why I can say that. We have utilized those tips you shared with the summer bucket list. We have hit summer so hard that this mama is ready for a schedule. So I'm really excited for that. Now, one thing I just want to share out the gate to all you parents, like kind of our first just tip, just motto to live by, keep your expectations for back to school low. Right? There was a really funny, Cheree, this is a true story. My parents were in Aruba, lucky them, and they were looking up like restaurants they should go eat at. And there was one that said, this is a pretty good burrito shop, but you're going to need to take your expectations and lower them, then lower them again. And so that has become my like family motto of like, take your expectations and lower them, then lower them one more time. And
I love that.
the reason I say this is because I think we as parents can really hype up back to school and we can be like, you're going to make so many friends and this is just going to be the next chapter of your life and you're going to love high school and oh, junior high. We just hype it up in that magical rose-colored glasses of the past. Or maybe we had really negative experiences and we can start to just project those and say, well, I hope your junior high wasn't like mine, right? And I just say, let's just keep those expectations open. Let's let our teen feel free to feel any emotion. They can dread going back to school, and that's just fine. Honestly, I take that as a win of I've made the summer really fun. That my kid doesn't want to go back to school. Or they can be so hyped up and excited. Like just loosen up any thoughts or any emotions that we have around back to school and just let your teen be what they want to be about it.
I think that's so good. I always say, like, whatever they feel or whatever they're experiencing or whatever happens, like, nothing's gone wrong. It's exactly as it should be. And having that helps us keep our expectations so solid because it's not like, oh, I'm expecting them to have this great year or I'm expecting them to, do amazing in school or I'm expecting them to have the worst case scenario. It's just, whatever happens is exactly what they need this year. And it's going to help us all grow and all learn and all become. It's going to be a
Yeah.
good year.
Yeah. And, if they're excited, be excited. If they're not excited, don't hype it up. Like, just kind of let them be. And I feel like when we can ease off any pressure from us as a parent, it really just gives our teen room to be their own little person. And each youth has their own little personality. Some are so excited, some are sad to go back. And it doesn't mean anything about you as a parent. And it doesn't even have to mean anything about school and their teachers. Like, we don't have to freak out if they're like, I don't want to go back to school, mom. Just give them a big hug and say, I know, baby. And I'll see you on Monday after school, right? Like, like I'll
Yes.
be here
Yeah.
with you and I know.
It's just, I love to say it's understandable. That's so understandable. And they're like, oh, I'm so excited for school. Understandable. Oh, I don't want to go back to school. Understandable. Just so relatable and understandable. Validating whatever experience they are having is so exactly normal for them.
Well, and then I feel like the second piece of advice goes with that, especially if you have a youth that's got some nervousness or anxiousness around school, or they're like, Mom, I really don't want to go. Let's plan fun family activities all throughout that back to school season. This can be really, really helpful for our youth that are experiencing negative emotions, we might say, or anxiety towards going back to school. If they can go, hey, you know what, on Friday, I'm getting ice cream with my family. It can be like that little life preserver that they just need, like, hey, it's okay that I'm doing a scary thing now, because then we're going to go to my cousin's house and we're going to go do these things, right? So it doesn't even have to be big or lots of money, but just fun things like maybe you're going to do a fun family dinner. Maybe you can go to their favorite activity of pickleball so they feel like maybe the summer hasn't ended. Let's just plan and scatter little ways to have joy throughout those weeks so it's not just, oh, we went back to school and then all of the fun stopped.
It seems like such a better transition, like you're talking about. It's just transitioning from summer to school instead of summer done, school, it's time for the grind. It's just this beautiful transition of taking some of summer and bringing it into the fall and starting that school and that routine. I love it. Such good advice.
Yeah. And then this next advice comes from actual real clients who will tell me this. They'll be like, oh my gosh, my parents are just on my case right after school. Like they just don't let me just lay on my bed for a minute. And I get that as a parent. You're like, come on, what's up? Tell me about school or let's start your homework right. We get kind of right on them because we're ready for them to get home. But when your youth comes home, especially for those first couple weeks of school, just remember that their social battery is depleted, their emotional battery is depleted, their physical battery is depleted. And so let them decompress when you come home from school. Maybe let's not pounce on them right when they get back. Um, welcome them. Maybe we have a snack. That'd be a really great way to like ease that transition again. But like, let your youth have a moment when they get back from school that they can decompress. And for some youth, that's they need to go in their room and be alone for a little bit. Some youth, they're going to binge out on the couch for a second, and that's okay. That transition time can be really important to ease them back into safe regulatory mode at home.
I so agree with that. And every teen is so different, but most teens, they've even like, you talked about that social and that emotional and that physical. And there's also such a mental component of being like focused all day long. And the way our brain is wired is that takes a lot of energy to be focused all day long. And so needing to take a break from that and letting the brain take a break and have some downtime, TV time, phone scrolling time, just chilling time where they don't have to use anything mental, I think is so important. And then they're going to be ready to pick up and start. Now, some teens might come and be like, I just want to get my homework done and be done with it. And that feels better to them. But really understanding the rhythm of your teenager of they really probably do need some downtime. And then they'll kick it back into gear. But letting them, I think is so wise to just realize they've been in like full mode of social interactions,
They've been
mental,
on.
emotional,
Yeah.
on. And they do need turn a time to just like flip the switch and turn off for a little bit.
Yeah, and I think more so this is speaking to I have a made up schedule in my head as a mom, and nobody's more guilty of this than I am. And then I get upset when people aren't
Mhm.
adhering to my schedule in my made up mind of what I want them to be doing, right? And so letting go of that, realizing there's some wiggle room, realizing that, they're going to need to navigate their own emotions for a little bit. And that's kind of my last advice I'd leave you with this back to school episode is expect moodiness. Expect like off the charts moodiness. They might not be saying it, but they are nervous. They are anticipating a lot of things. They are excited. I'll never forget Cheree that, there's big times of going like ninth grade to high school, and that obviously we anticipate it's going to be really emotional. But I remember being in high school, going into my senior year, and finding out that all my friends had already been asked to homecoming in the summer. And I was gutted. And then that made going back to school, I was just like, ugh, this sucks because everybody's already been asked to homecoming and nobody asked me. And I didn't have a summer fling and I haven't been hanging out with these people, right? And so just expect them to be in a bad mood and then you can be pleasantly surprised when they aren't. But there's just so much going on that is so hard for them to process. And even as an adult to say, oh, I'm feeling this way because all my friends got asked to homecoming and I didn't, right? I'm feeling disappointed. Our teens really don't have those skills yet. Like maybe they might, but really they're not. And so they're going to be like, well, I'm just upset. And that's okay, right? We all make it through this transition. But if your teen is off the charts moody, it's okay. And I don't even think we need to fix it or even really correct them on this because it is such a short pinpoint of just nervous energy.
I so agree with everything you said. I was thinking about as you were talking about how, I call it a manual where we have this unwritten manual of how we think everyone should behave and what should happen. after school when everyone gets home. And I've, maybe been home all day. Maybe I have little kids, but maybe they're all at school. And so when everyone gets home, I have this manual or this plan for everybody, but nobody knows about this plan. It's just in my head, like you were talking about, right? And then I have all these expectations of how people are going to behave and how they're going to receive my plan. And when it doesn't go well, it throws everyone off. Everyone spirals because they ruined my plan. And I was thinking about a time in my kids' life, so when they were teens, and I had these expectations for them that were just absolutely like I thought they were so important. And I remember there was just contention all the time. And the thought that kept coming to me is I needed to change my expectations and I needed to have two, maybe three at the most expectations. And then everything else needed to be like
Yeah.
done away with. And one of the expectations was like not trying to control people's moods and if they liked it or not. It's like I had no expectations of how people received my my ideas. But as as I thought about that, and then I could say to my kids, like, okay, here are some expectations. These are like non-negotiables. These are some things that, you know, like we will have dinner together unless we've talked about it
Yeah.
and there's
Yeah.
another plan. Like that's a non-negotiable unless like we'll plan on dinner at this time with everybody unless we've talked about another plan. Like that's non-negotiable. Another one I had was on Sunday. My children love this, believe me, my teenagers. That's said with so much sarcasm. But we would have like a planning where we would just have an hour where we kind of planned out the week where everyone was going to be
Yeah.
so
Family
it could
meetings.
flow better. And that was just one of those expectations that I needed as a mom to know where people were going in the plans. But everything else I had to just like throw out the door, right? And when I did that, things went so much smoother, not because everything went perfect, but because I no longer had that manual in my head
Mhm.
of how everyone needed to behave and what they needed to do. And my two non-negotiables was really like the one was in my control is that I could just let everyone have their own emotional experience. And the other one is just feeling like I could apparently I like control. I could have
I love
like,
it.
just like have enough like knowing what everyone was doing that I could feel like I could play my part as the mom in the way I wanted to. And so
Yeah.
I think just having these thoughts moving forward of, you know what? Let's get rid of some of these expectations that don't help and let's understand where our kids are coming from and that we don't know what experiences they had in the day. And so however they come home, whatever mood they're in, is exactly right for what they've experienced. And it's not about us as their parent.
Yeah. And if you want to feel good about your parenting, this was last night. I was like, let's go get ice cream. I'm just trying to be a fun mom and be like, let's go get ice cream as a family. My kids cried the whole way that I drove them to go get ice cream, right? And then once they had their ice cream, they were happy and they were like, that was fun, mom. And I was like, you pickles. Like, I was so upset, right? But that's just like, that's what it is. So, we hope that in this back to school season, you can find some of that comfort, right? Maybe we ease expectations. Maybe we throw away that manual in our head of, well, we're going to come home and we're going to have a snack and they're going to do their homework, right? We're going to let them be a little person who might be a moody little person, right? And then have those non-negotiables. I love that, Cheree, because dinner to me is when we all eat at 6. And when a teen has consistency like that, it makes a huge difference. So, parents, we are actually going to do a part 2. So, tune into our next episode where we talk more back to school tips, specifically once that school year has started for your teen. So, we'll see you in our next episode. Thank you for listening to Let's Talk Teens with Cheree Murdock and Abbi Winslow. If you are looking for more tips to help your teenager, here's where you can find us. You can find Cheree Murdock on Instagram at Cheree Murdock Coaching or on her website, ChereeMurdock.com. You can find me, Abbi, on Instagram as Abbi Winslow or on my website, AbbiWinslow.com. Please rate and review our podcast and share with a fellow parent. Thanks for listening.